So, Karl, if you could have anything bolted to both of your hands, what would it be and why?
My phone and an iced coffee. That's what it is at most of the time, anyway. Right?
So, not a pair of guns then?
No, not a pair of guns, no.
Hey, I need help! Someone's trying to kill me!
Hey!
Oh,
Drop your guns!
right.
So hello and a warm Wiki Weekends welcome to all the guys, girls and non-binary pals watching. I am Lucas Holland and I am joined as always by Karl Smallwood.
Hello.
And, as always on Wiki Weekends, I have brought up a wiki page for us to have a broad discussion about and generally go off topic, as we will probably do today, because we are talking about guns akimbo, Karl. And how much do you know about guns akimbo?
Okay, I need to know why.
Why what?
Why this movie?
I'd just watched Welcome to Raccoon City on Amazon Prime, and Guns Akimbo came up as a suggestion. I was like, you know what? It looks like it's about 90 minutes long. Let's give it a shot.
Because I knew nothing about this movie because I was immediately put off by the marketing.
Yes.
And the marketing seemed to revolve entirely around the fact, like, isn't it funny that Daniel Radcliffe's in an action movie where he has guns bolted to his hands? And my response was, not really.
This film was like, it was fine, but at least it has an interesting premise. It was it was at least memorable. It did something to inspire me to talk about it at least, which is more than I can say about Welcome to Raccoon City.
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm a fan of high-concept movies. I especially like high-concept action movies. But when I was watching, I think I got, half an hour in, I went, I'm just going to watch the rest on YouTube. Nothing about this story is, arresting my attention. And all I thought is, Crank did it so much better. If anyone's unfamiliar with Crank is a Jason Statham action vehicle. And the gimmick of that is that Jason Statham has his heart removed and replaced by, I think it's a robot heart or an animal heart. It's the only way for you to stay alive is to just continually have your heart flooded with adrenaline. So he has to keep doing things that are dangerous.
What I don't get about the premise of Crank, because I've not seen the movie, is what happens when he needs to sleep.
Well, he doesn't, that's the point. The thing is that you've got 24 hours to live, and you can maybe eke out a couple more hours if you continually flood your system with adrenaline. So he does stuff like drives the wrong way down the road, he leaps out of windows, he gets in fistfights at bars, he has sex with his girlfriend in public.
Bear with me on this. It's an interesting premise again. It's something that's unique, right? You remember Crank. But it does remind me of the Pokemon Spoink when I read its Pokedex entry. And it's Spoink will die the moment it stops bouncing. And I'm like, but it needs to sleep. The poor thing can never rest at any point ever again.
There's so many different elements of Crank. I think other movies did it better. The dumb over-the-top violence, Hardcore Henry did it better.
Mm-hmm.
The stupid high-concept gimmick, Crank did it better. Daniel Radcliffe's, run-down, I work in an office and hate my life character. James McAvoy did it better in Wanted.
Yeah, no, it's valid, and don't get me wrong, I don't think this is, some terrible movie. Again, I think this movie was a decent film that I kind of enjoyed watching and would recommend, at least in terms of, it's something interesting and different.
Again, high concept. I'm a big fan of the high concept movie. Even if it's not going to be that good, it's probably going to be something unique.
It's not bad. I'd never say that this is a bad movie, and I don't want to take too much of the piss out of it or make people think that we are. If anyone is unfamiliar with Guns Akimbo, Karl, it is a 2019 action comedy film written and directed by Jason Lee Howden. It stars Daniel Radcliffe, Samara Weaving, Ned Dennehy, Natasha Liu, Bordizo, Grant Bowler, Edwin Wright, Rhys Darby, Milo Cawthorne, Richard Knowles and Mark Rowley. Wow, okay, this wiki needs to, just give us the headlines.
Yeah.
But in this film, an underground fight club becomes popular due to live streaming fights to the death.
That concept is just Gamer. If you remember Gamer? With Gerard Butler, where it's death row convicts and people on who've been accused of crimes can commute their sentence by having people control them in digitized war games. And that's the movie where they have a live-action teabag, and it's fucking hilarious.
I was going to say, the only reason I remember that now is because you asked me to get a clip where someone does a live-action teabag.
Yeah, the live-action. Again, just there's so many elements of Guns Akimbo. At first glance, it looks really unique and original.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but then each individual element is just something another movie's done better.
That's not to take away, like, the sum of its
parts,
parts,
not to take away
right?
from it, no. But that's what I was thinking of someone who's like I want to say a connoisseur, because you can't be a connoisseur of shit. But you can.
I mean, you can be, right?
You can be an expert in it, though.
Yeah. But yeah, Daniel Radcliffe stars as a computer programmer who criticises the spectacle of the live streaming fights to the death, and then is forced to become one of its contestants. And I believe the fight to the death is called, like, Schism. Look, this movie is on the nose, and I think it's very intentionally on the nose. I would like to hope it's intentional at very least, right?
It really feels like whoever was making it felt like they were making a point.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that much. They felt like they were making a point. How well they made that point
is arguable. And as I mentioned, it's quite cringy with a lot of the kind of writing style. And again,
the costumes.
I've got to imagine with the tone of the movie, with, like, as you mentioned, the costumes, with the over-the-top violence, with, like, the really not great effects on them, but it looks intentionally not great, kind of similar to, like, a lot of Tarantino movies being, like, really over-the-top violent.
Looney Tunes logic. And that's why I think Crank does
Slightly,
it better. Because Crank has that where you think it's going to be your standard Jason Statham action vehicle. Mm-hmm. And then you get to the part where it's like, okay, some like 150-year-old Chinese man stole his heart, so he can go have sex. So he can go have sex with like 50 women because Jason Statham's so virile. Now Jason Statham has to get jumper cables and attach them to his nutsack to give him like the adrenaline rush to stay alive.
Yeah, I do remember that about the trailer for Crank. I've never seen the movie, but yeah, I have that like burned into my memory of just seeing that trailer.
And I forget which one of the Cranks it is, because both the movies are kind of the same, but in one the gimmick is adrenaline, the other one the gimmick is electricity. And that's where you have, like, I think the poster is Jason Statham with just, like, a jumper cable on his tongue. And that's where, like, he's, like, goading police officers into tasing him on the street and stuff.
And that's the thing, I hope from the way that we're talking about these movies that people understand that we enjoy an excuse to watch these dumb films.
Certainly, as I mentioned, I love dumb action movies. Just this one, something about it just didn't gel with me personally, because I've seen so many of its elements done better in other things. And it, as mentioned, it really felt like the people making it thought they were doing something original, which kind of just rubbed me the wrong way of like, well, not really, no, because there's like a dozen other movies that have done what you've done.
Yeah, totally. I do get that. And, like, I will 100% admit that nowadays, at least when I'm watching a movie that isn't necessarily grabbing me, I have the excuse of going, well, at least I can make a video out of it and finish the movie.
Hell yeah.
The character has very cringy lines, but I've got to hope that the writer's doing it because they're trying to, like, do it intentionally, because I remember one of the things that really threw me off quite early on in the film is, like, Daniel Radcliffe's character is, like, drunk and had, like, earlier on liked his ex's Instagram post, and it's, like, you know, he gets a message of, like, should we meet up in the park or whatever, and he's like, yeah, and then imagines a sequence where they magically just get back together because he's so charming and all this jazz. And then afterwards, it pauses and does the whole, like, narrator thing of, like, well, don't you worry, this isn't one of those love movies about some, like, hero geek that's trying to get the girl back. And it's like, oh.
And then what's the thrust of the narrative? He's trying to get his girlfriend back.
I'll even blame it on you.
Look, don't worry, okay? This is not another story about a nerd trying to get the girl like she's an Xbox achievement to be unlocked.
The narration to me really felt like they were saying, oh, look how good Daniel Radcliffe's American accent is.
I was quite convinced by Daniel Radcliffe's American accent, because when the narrator kicks in at the start of the film, I was like, oh, the narrator's not Daniel Radcliffe. And then his actual character started talking, and I was like, oh, that doesn't sound like Daniel Radcliffe from Harry Potter at all, right?
All I'm doing when I'm watching is, like, letting be Wolverine.
Yeah. True.
Because like Joe, when he's got, that's the image everyone knows this movie, like him in his bathrobe screaming in the street with the guns on his hands. I'm thinking like, just replace those guns with 2 sets of claws, you've got yourself a Wolverine.
I think he'd make a decent Wolverine. Obviously, we've mentioned like fan casting for that in the past and brought up Michael Mando as like an excellent
because
option.
He's Canadian, yeah.
Yeah, and Canadian, not tall, and buff as fuck.
But Daniel Radcliffe is hairy.
Yes,
he's
Daniel
so
Radcliffe is
hairy. Also, he just looks so he looks just so animalistic. Like he's completely out of his element. He looks like he could walk onto the set of Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
That's an actor that I'm kind of surprised hasn't appeared in Always Sunny, because
it feels like he'd do it.
He would definitely do it, because after Harry Potter, he's got fuck you money and likes to just do smaller projects like this rather than being a massive superstar anymore, right? And
he's English Elijah Wood, where Elijah Wood got he got that Lord of the Rings money, and then just like, I can do whatever I want, and he started like lending his voice to like point and click adventure games because he played them a lot when he was a kid. And he's like, I'll lend my voice to point and click adventure games. I'll do weird stuff.
Some weird video game that I don't even know if released that Elijah Wood was like either funding or was like, he was at very least on like an E3 stage or something going like, this is my game.
He's got that Lord of the Rings money. He's never going to need to work again if he doesn't want to.
Exactly.
Daniel Radcliffe, right?
Yeah, same with the main 3 young actors from Harry Potter, right? Is like, I was a big fan of those movies. Things are obviously very different now and a bit weird around that whole thing, but like, I'm so glad that, the Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, Emma Watson, they've all come out and just been like, we want nothing to do with J.K. Rowling.
And they've got that fuck you money forever, which is handy for Rupert Grint and Emma Watson because they can't act. Like Daniel Radcliffe can act, so he doesn't need the fuck you money. But I'm glad that he's channeling his energy into weird projects. Like Rupert Grint, I'm sorry, you can't act.
Emma Watson definitely seems to be that middle point, but yeah, Daniel Radcliffe is certainly, I think, the most talented in terms of acting out of the 3.
And the most range.
Yeah, got great range. And, obviously, we at Wiki Weekends, we stand for trans rights. We're all about just human equality. I just want to make that clear. Like, fuck J.K. Rowling. We also believe that. Just want to get that out there and remind people, like, fuck yeah, trans rights. But, it's so nice to see them all be like, you know what? Absolutely fuck that new project. Absolutely fuck J.K. Like, we do not stand for anything they speak about, and Daniel Radcliffe's just out here making like weird indie New Zealand movies. Like, fuck it, why not?
You can do whatever you want. It's like I said, make him Wolverine.
I'd like to see it, but again, because he just doesn't seem to want to be in the spotlight anymore, I don't think he's going to be in Marvel movies. I can't see it.
If they reverse that dump truck full of money onto his house, though, he might be tempted.
He might be. And that's the thing, right, is this movie is very much just, hey, we managed to get Daniel Radcliffe. Like, everything I saw about the marketing is like, it's a Daniel Radcliffe movie.
It's one of the things that put me off the marketing. It's like, are you going to tell me anything about the movie? And it's like, they seemingly wanted me to go watch the movie based entirely on the fact Daniel Radcliffe's in it, and he's playing against type. But I already knew that he could play against type, because I'd seen the other projects he'd done, like Woman in Black, or like, his stage show, Equus. I was already aware of the fact Daniel Radcliffe could act, and he's not just the Harry Potter kid. And this movie came out in 2019. I'm like,
yeah,
you're a bit
late on that one.
Yeah, Equus was released with that. That is his first big stage show, where it was, I think Equus came out like 2010 maybe, where they were advertising that on the fact that, hey, Daniel Radcliffe gets his dick out in this.
Oh yeah, and he gets his dick out in this.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, but look at when Equus came out, and like, that's how late the marketing was to using that as the selling point.
Question to people in the comments who may have watched maybe all of his films, I don't know. Does he get his dick out in every film? Did he get his dick out in Woman in Black? Is that a thing he's got written into his contract?
No, there's a couple of actors where they do have stuff like that seemingly written in. I think it's like Tom Hanks, where once you notice this, it's really hard to unnotice that Tom Hanks has a lot of movies where he just pisses on camera for a long time.
Right. Okay.
So, for example, in Apollo 13, there's a section where he just pisses in that and the camera lingers on him. The Green Mile, there's a bit where he goes into his garden and pisses. Castaway, he has a big like pissing scene in that. And it's just, does Tom Hanks have a pissing fetish? Because it's in more movies than you could chalk up to chance.
Yeah. Like, I think they deleted the part where Harry Potter got his dick out, but,
Oh, Lucas, he got his wand out.
He did.
You missed the most obvious joke, right?
But, I mean, obviously, this movie, the entire marketing and the entire, film is based around selling you of, Daniel Radcliffe is in this, as I say, and it's one of those annoying things where I know that even in a movie about death games, Daniel Radcliffe is not going to die. But...
Oh, yeah.
One element really frustrates me in movies, and I see as very, lazy storytelling, is just that opening thing of, Daniel Radcliffe being like, and this is the story of how I saved the world. It's so just take all tension out.
Also, as you mentioned, Kick-Ass. It's Kick-Ass did that.
Mm-hmm. This is how I became a superhero or whatever, and it's yeah.
I always wondered why nobody did it before me. I mean, all those comic books, movies, TV shows. You'd think that one eccentric loner would have made himself a costume.
As I said, the movie is interesting. It's well made. Some good acting moments in there. Mm-hmm. It's just every part of it feels so dated, even though this movie's 5-6 years old.
Really feels like a movie that should have released around the same time as Kick-Ass. Yeah,
and maybe Daniel Radcliffe could return to his Guns Akimbo roots if he wanted to, because the new hotness of action movies now is take a star who's not necessarily known for doing action movies, then make them do action movies. Look at Bob Odenkirk with the Nobody series.
And obviously it wasn't a well-known movie, but there was also that Michael Caine one, where he's the old man that just...
Oh yeah, Harry Brown.
Harry Brown, that was it. He just takes out a bunch of fucking, youths on the street. It's okay, sure.
There's a lot of actors who've done projects like that. The worst one is Eden Lake. Have you seen that?
No, I've not, no.
That's Michael Fassbender versus Chavs.
Right, okay.
And... I'm not going to spoil it. I'm just going to say, if anyone out there wants to watch a very frustrating movie, go watch Eden Lake.
Fair.
And it's just Michael Fassbender versus the youths. Similar to Harry Brown, where it's Michael Caine versus the youths.
But at least in that, it's what's this pensioner going to do against a bunch of young people, right? An entire gang of kids. It's I get it. Most projects don't have much tension in them. You generally know that the hero's going to come out as a hero. But, obviously, spoilers for Game of Thrones, a thing that at very least did tension very fucking well, because, hey, it had main characters die left, right, and centre, and you never knew when that was really going to happen.
I'm not feeling my best this week, and I know you're the same, Lucas. So when I was watching this movie, one of the reasons I turned it off is because the people in it made me feel unclean, because it's such a very dirty movie. The bit where he's struggling to pick the hot dog off the floor.
That's still, 10-second rule.
Yep. Okay.
That's it. Yeah.
I get what you're doing. This is not the one.
Yeah, but
you've not earned that for me to not turn this shit off. Especially when one of my favourite facts about this movie. Do you know how long it was in theatres for?
It was pandemic time, so I'm guessing it says here in the wiki 3 weeks or less.
Yeah, it was in theatres for less than 2 weeks before it went straight to digital streaming.
Which that's also
sucks for the movie.
It's very much COVID time, right? Because it released in 25th of June 2020, right in the time where no fuckers go into a theatre.
But imagine though, it's start of COVID, everyone's just bathing themselves in hand sanitizer and putting this on and watching that scene.
Yeah. No, going back to my point about Game of Thrones,
yes.
Imagine in Game of Thrones if it started with Bran Stark just going, and this is the story about how I became king of Westeros or some shit.
Well, that's how it ended.
Well, no, that's what I mean. That's why I was giving the spoiler warning. But, it just takes so much tension out of a thing that is literally meant to be built on the premise of, will this guy get killed in the death games or not? But yeah, you were talking earlier about the box office and the theatre stay for this. It had a budget of $15 million and unfortunately only got a box office of $1 million. But again, entirely, I would say blamed on the fact no fucker was going to a theatre at the time. I'm sure if you look up box office for movies in June 2020, it was not good.
Yeah.
It's a shame because, like, it's a small budget. It was released, like, in a few countries, it seems, with a few different publishers or distributors, and, like, it just seems it was one of those of, like, this small film that was trying something different and probably spent a lot of budget just on Daniel Radcliffe, and then it's like, oh, great, we get no money back because of something we couldn't have controlled at all, right? It's a shame because this, like, set up a sequel. They were clearly trying to get something started and we haven't heard anything since, I don't think. It's always a shame because I always like to see at least, you know, new IP movies do something significant, right?
And I do want most everyone involved with the film to go on and do bigger and better things, and a lot of them probably have. But I do think if you scroll a bit further down that wiki page, Lucas, to the section simply marked controversy. This is a story I am, like, partially familiar, so I've just reminded myself of it now. So, yeah, when you read out, like, the description from Wikipedia, I can give you the details of what happened.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, this is to be noted then. There is a controversy section, which is never a good sign on Wikipedia.
It's never a good sign. The longer that controversy section is, the more spicy the Wiki Weekends video is likely to be.
Yes, indeed. But it does say here that a week prior to the film's release, director Jason Lee Howden drew criticism for a series of tweets targeted at online film critics, accusing them of online bullying and, quote-unquote, attempted murder of another critic.
So would you like to know the details to this story? Very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Some, like, DMs from a review site, Much Ado About Cinema, were leaked, and it turns out that one of the writers for that site was just throwing around the N-word.
Oh, right.
A bit willy-nilly. And a couple of writers were like, hey, this is kind of fucked up. Why are you letting this person write for your site? That writer was checked into hospital after, like, the harassment, and then in response, the director of Guns Akimbo was like, haha, this is the woke mob.
Right. So, yeah, fuck that person in particular. Not to say that everyone involved with the project should be shunned in a similar light. Obviously, this movie did come out, and it says that despite speculation that the film's release would be delayed, Saban Films released later a statement confirming that the film would still be released on 28th of February 2020, adding, quote-unquote, while we do not condone, agree, or share Mr. Howden's online behaviour, which is upsetting and disturbing, we are supportive of the film and all the hard work and dedication that has gone into making Guns Akimbo.
Howden also, as well, defended the use of the N-word, saying it was just a joke.
Yeah.
Hooray!
And, again, fuck that person in particular, but I do agree with the idea of, hey, one person...
Of course, yeah.
Admittedly being the director, but one person being a shithead on this movie shouldn't stop everybody else having something to, like, you know, add to their CV and have, like...
Of course, yeah.
Really.
What's your limit on that, then? Because that is a curious thing, right? Because, like, for example, Baby Driver, I don't think I can go watch Baby Driver.
I started rewatching Baby Driver and turned it off because I just felt uncomfortable.
So that means there is a limit, right?
There is a limit.
What that limit is.
And I don't know
how many shitty people can a project involve before you're just like, I don't even want to watch it anymore.
Like, it's not necessarily that I think I'd want to watch this film knowing that necessarily. I wouldn't at least seek it out. As I say, it was just a random suggestion that I was like, fuck it, why not?
Yeah.
But I don't know, because I certainly would feel less comfortable watching it knowing that at the time. And I think it's even worse when the people are the people on screen, right? Because you get a constant reminder that those people are involved in the project. Not to say that that's fair, but it's definitely something, you know, in my brain. Because, like, the moment the main character or Kevin Spacey are on screen, I'm like, oh yeah. Whereas at least with a director, I can make a note in the back of my head and go, okay, but I'm not reminded by that while I'm watching the film.
What was the film where they, like, CGI'd Kevin Spacey out?
There was a film that did that.
Yeah, there was a film that CGI'd Kevin Spacey out and replaced him, like, digitally with another actor. It's like, that is, like, some next level, like, just shade being handed there. I think it was Army of the Dead as well, that Zack Snyder movie. After Chris D'Elia got outed for, like, sexing underage girls. I'm going to say allegedly after that, just in case. But like, he probably almost certainly did it, right?
Oh,
but
allegedly.
Allegedly. Like, whatever the case, when like, they use CGI to replace him with another actor, they replace like Tig Notaro.
Right, okay. Yeah, I mean...
It's like, what about if Starling just got really into directing movies and started editing people he didn't like out of them?
Like, I guess, if you figure out that this person's going to be a problem before the project releases, that could be a good option. We have the technology to do it. Why not get rid of them? Why not fuck them?
It's just interesting to me that that's just an option that they have for cinema, and that's happened multiple times.
I can't wait to go back and watch like Ant-Man Quantumania and just like there's a different Kang there.
Yeah. Oh, Disney's like so close to doing that. Have you seen they've already started like editing old movies? I think it's Splash with Tom Hanks. Mentioned Tom Hanks and his pissing fetish earlier.
Right. Is that what the movie's about?
No, but there's a scene where like a lady runs into the ocean. You can see like her ass crack. On the Disney Plus re-release of that movie, they've like CGI'd her hair to cover a bum crack.
Oh, of course, yeah. That doesn't surprise me at all. Like, they even back in the day were doing that depending on what country films were being released in and stuff, right?
Go look up, I think it's Iran. Go look up like Iranian TV edits where they like use MS Paint to paint like over cleavage and stuff.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I would literally think of examples there where like, just seeing edits of just like cleavage being completely filled in on dresses and stuff like that, yeah. But anyway, Karl, going back to Guns Akimbo.
Yes.
Its reception here on Wikipedia says that on Rotten Tomatoes, the film has an approval rating of 51% based on reviews from 70 critics with an average rating of 5.9 out of 10. I can't really argue with that. I definitely slot this in as like a solid, 6, 7 out of 10. Again, at least it's memorable and does what it was seemingly aiming to do.
It's not forgettable, which would be like the death knell of the 6, 7 out of 10 action movie. There's some element to it that at least makes it noteworthy. Even if the thing that makes it noteworthy is just it's Daniel Radcliffe in a dressing gown.
Yeah, and then gets dressed by a homeless man.
Hey, look, this is gonna sound really fucking weird, but could you help dress me? I have guns bolted to my hands. This whole deal.
Yeah, you're right. That does sound pretty fucking weird.
There's a lot of weirdness to the film, which again, I appreciate, but the critical consensus reads here, quote, frenetic to a fault, Guns Akimbo may leave some viewers reaching for the kill switch, fucking hell. But for others, its video game-style violence will have plenty of replay value. There's some cool action in this, and I think that's one of the strengths, is like the choreography is actually pretty good. The problem I've got is like Nix, the main character who's trying to kill Daniel Radcliffe's character. Every scene that they're against like one of generic dude number ones that gets shown off in like, a montage of them killing 50 men in a warehouse somewhere.
The Borderlands style intros, yeah.
She has like pitch perfect accuracy. And yes, the film sets up the idea that she doesn't necessarily want to kill this computer programmer who's just this like wimp who doesn't want to even kill her and is just trying to have a conversation. It does, give elements of that, but ultimately she'll still try to kill him and shoot at him a lot and miss every single shot. She becomes a stormtrooper.
But I will forgive that because Samara Weaving is very hot.
Oh no, yeah, and very like cool Borderlands-esque design to her.
She looks
character.
like she could be in Borderlands.
She really does, and
that's why I mentioned it. She looks like a Borderlands character.
She really does, and it's a cool character, and immediately I kind of want to root for her more than Daniel Radcliffe
because she has a personality.
She has a personality that's not kind of just snivelly guy that is this. He's kind of like the internet troller, and he's going online to like troll internet trolls and like be this keyboard warrior, and that's how he ends up in this situation. And I'm like,
which isn't really the most endearing aspect for your character, especially when you think, oh, the internet troll who harasses people is like the real hero. I mean, what was the director doing before the movie came out? Oh, harassing people on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely gives a little bit more of a twinge when you read that controversy section of like, oh, okay.
So why couldn't this just cool girl be the main character?
Well, I mean, speaking of main character energy, Karl, the main character might be Nova, his ex, just her hair, Natasha Lee Bordizzo, who, another beautiful woman in this movie, but...
Yeah, also, very hot.
Yeah, but distractingly cool hair in this film, because, like, the point is that, like, she dyes her hair to look like a sunset, and every time that character was on screen, I was just admiring her hair.
It makes me annoyed that the Borderlands movie was so bad. It's like, okay, they should let this just be a Borderlands movie, because it looks like one.
But then, the world itself is very toned down, and...
Yeah.
It's,
maybe that's the joke of, like, how crazy distracting these people are wandering around what appears to be a normal street.
Maybe this does answer the idea of, like, how much was intentional. The director, whose previous projects include the film Deathgasm, maybe this person is making over-the-top movies on purpose, and it's not... It's still cringy, but it's maybe intentionally so. And
they seemingly are following the footprints of Peter Jackson.
Yeah, whose early movies before Lord of the Rings were, like, weird and over-the-top.
Yeah, I think it's Brain Dead, which is widely regarded as the single bloodiest movie ever made. Mm-hmm. And it has a very infamous scene where it's a zombie movie and a guy walks through a corridor full of zombies with a lawnmower turned upside down.
Yeah.
And they use more fake blood for that one scene than some movies use for the entirety of their production. It's always really funny when people talk about, like, Peter Jackson. It's like everyone always thinks Lord of the Rings. It's like, here's how he got his start, though.
It's very similar to, I mean, even more low budget than Sam Raimi, but Sam Raimi going from, like, the weird horror low budget films that he did with, like, Ash vs. the Evil Dead and stuff to the blockbusters that were the Spider-Man films.
When you can still see elements of his directing style in those Spider-Man movies. Like, everyone always points out, like, if you want to see Sam Raimi in his fucking element, go watch Dr. Octopus waking up in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, with the arms going everywhere and just
and the
taking
crazy
control
bullshit
and just,
camera angles.
killing all the doctors with, like, the circular saws and stuff.
So also, like, when I became more familiar with Sam Raimi's work, there's, like, the hallmark of a director. I talked earlier about, like, Tom Hanks's potential pissing fetish. One for Sam Raimi is large, buxom women screaming directly into the camera. Okay. And that's another thing. Once you notice it, it's in every one of his movies, because every Spider-Man movie has a woman who's just usually a random extra with massive tits screaming and running straight into the camera, holding her hands to her side like Macaulay Culkin.
Well, and then you've got Multiverse of Madness, which has just, Elizabeth Olsen screaming into camera while murdering people.
Yeah, the other one's like James Gunn of, like, why does James Gunn keep finding the most stacked women you've ever seen for these side roles? Like, I've not seen Superman yet, but it was like, oh, here's, like, the secretary character who's in the background. It's like, no, she's too... You can't have her in the background. I can't concentrate on Superman.
So what do you mean Superman was in the scene?
It's to the point where, like, I think in Peacemaker, there's this actress who's so attractive, she winks at the camera. They just left it in.
A good example in Multiverse of Madness as well, right, is, like, Sam Raimi's moment where he's just like, I'm going to make Scarlet Witch become a horror character where they're stuck in that room. And, like, right, she can't get us cover up all of, like, the reflective surfaces.
And it's just Evil Dead.
And then she just, like, breaks through the mirror and just... What would Sam Raimi do if he had, like, unlimited budget near enough?
The answer is give his friend Bruce Campbell some more money.
Give him some pizza balls.
You've got to respect that, right? I respect, like, the indie auteur director who goes on to do big things. Like, no, my boy gets his role. Like, James Gunn.
Yeah,
he's got his boys. Like, Michael Rooker gets his role. Like, my brother gets his role.
I hate it when it's like, did you know that James Gunn actually gave a small role to his wife in Guardians 3? It's like, would you not give your family members small roles and job opportunities if you had the capacity to do so?
The thing is that he doesn't do what other directors would do. Like, he didn't do, like, Francis Ford Coppola and put his fucking daughter in the main character as one of the main characters in, like, Godfather 3. He gives them, like, a small role to flex their creative talents, then Yeah, you can live off those residuals.
Sean Gunn does get a lot from him.
Oh, yeah.
But Sean Gunn's also talented. Until people learn that Sean Gunn and James Gunn, surprisingly, were brothers, like, I never heard anyone complain about any of the roles he's played in those movies. I've just heard people complain about, nepotism. And it's like...
Do you know the best bit as well? He's got another brother and a cousin who also work in Hollywood. For like the film Brightburn, his other brother wrote that and his cousin produced it, and James Gunn was also a producer to help it get made.
I remember not long ago when we were discussing Thunderbolts, I only kind of put two and two together after the fact that Wyatt Russell's Kurt Russell's kid. And I was like, but he's still good in that movie. Who cares?
You mentioned actress in Guns Akimbo, Samara Weaving. Was that last name seem familiar?
Oh, Hugo Weaving.
Hugo Weaving's cousin.
Oh. They were good in this film. They hit the nail on the head with the role they were meant to do.
If Hugo Weaving was in that role, that could have been something.
I mean, if Hugo Weaving was in this film, that would have been fucking great. Like, if he was the villain, that would have been fantastic, because that was one of the weak points of this film. Is the villain is distinct in terms of visuals, not the greatest performance.
Whoa, who the fuck are you? Well, there he is, the big man. You scared yet?
Memorable more as a visual than an acting performance, for sure. For people trying to place it that haven't seen it, it gives real Kick-Ass 2 energy.
You know what? That's fair. I was about to say,
I think
it's not fair to compare something to Kick-Ass 2. Then I was like, yeah, actually, no, that's probably right on the money.
It's not quite as good as Kick-Ass, and trying a little bit too hard in comparison to a Kick-Ass.
Oh, speaking of trying to, Kick-Ass 2 is
Kick-Ass 2 goes just full head into the really trying way too hard to capture that energy again.
Here's the thing as well, Lucas, it could have been so much worse, because they fortunately deviated from some elements in the comic books for that movie. And the original Kick-Ass comic books are just, they're so fucking bad. Do you know why they just wrote out his girlfriend at the start of the movie for Kick-Ass 2?
Mm-hmm.
They just write his girlfriend out, and a lot of people what happened to his girlfriend? Well, that's because in the Kick-Ass graphic novel, his girlfriend doesn't like that he's a superhero and breaks up with him by sending him a photo of her blowing another guy. And when they were making the live action version, I thought, we don't want to get the actress to do that. Also, people kind of like that character, so let's just write in, we kind of drifted apart, but I do wish you the best, because it's just an unnecessarily mean-spirited thing to put in.
Especially when, the first movie, I don't know about the comic, I've not read the comics, but the first movie, she's, getting a proper lady boner for the fact that he's a superhero, right?
Well, that's in the original graphic novel, if I remember correctly. It's been a couple of years since I read it, but that's kind of what she's into. She's it's the excitement she likes. And when he wants step away from being a superhero, she calls him a pussy. That's the other thing, it's really fucking homophobic in the original graphic novel.
That's kind of how I'd sum this movie up, is Kick-Ass 2 energy, which, again, I still remember Kick-Ass 2. There's a lot of good moments in that.
Well, you can just say Mother Russia, right? Speaking of killing people with a lawnmower, when Mother Russia's she gets paid $50,000 a week plus expenses, and she just throws a lawnmower at a police car. It's yeah, she's fucking worth it.
Why are they backing up? Why is there a lawnmower on the trunk?
I don't think that Kick-Ass 2 is the best movie or whatever, but Kick-Ass 2 was a silly watch.
Speaking of someone who should be a Borderlands character, Mother Russia.
There's good elements in this where the VFX side of things. I really enjoyed the element that they put in an overlay.
The video game overlay, yeah.
Kind of whenever he shoots bullets, it comes up with his ammo count, because he's got 50 bullets strapped to each arm essentially. And I enjoyed that. I thought that was a really cool flair to add that I haven't seen in other films, and there are bits like that throughout this movie where I'm give them credit. They did stuff that is good and memorable and unique.
Yeah, do you know what that reminds me of? It's how long has it been since you watched what's that zombie movie with Woody Harrelson?
Oh, Zombieland.
Zombieland, that's it. I don't know. I said Woody Harrelson, the main actor.
Jesse Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg. There we go.
Yeah.
Do you know there's that one part of that movie where it's kill of the week?
Yeah, yeah.
And it just never comes back at all in the movie. And you're like, wait, what? That was actually really visually interesting and a cool aside. What's the deal? That's because originally Zombieland was going to be a TV show, and that was going to be a running gag of the zombie kill of the week, and it became a movie instead of a TV show. But they still left it in, and it's basically like, why? That would be a good TV show to contrast stuff like The Walking Dead. Make that show. Keep that gimmick.
And like the opening of the movie really leans into the rules, right? And like it's visually interesting where it's coming up with each rule and an example of why that rule exists to that character.
Yes, and the entire show would have been like, a tongue-in-cheek survival guide to the apocalypse. But they drop it after like the first half an hour. It just becomes
real just becomes like zombie romance movie with a lot of action. But it's
I know that they did for Guns Akimbo. They did seemingly want to commit to the gimmick of it being a video game, which I appreciate.
Yeah, and like the guy is a video game developer for a shit video game, but he goes home and plays video games, and he plays like Doom and Doom Eternal like sat on his desk, and that is another movie that reminds me of like a good unique moment where the Doom section, right, in that Doom movie where it goes first person and is shot like the video games, and there's like little kernels where
you can see the kernel of a good idea there, and all it makes you think is if you'd had the balls to commit to an entirely first-person movie where movie opens up, we wake up in the body of like unnamed space marine on like Mars, and shit goes wrong. We watch the entire movie through his perspective. That could have been so fucking fun. Like get Hardcore Henry. I'm surprised like no other movies tried to do the Hardcore Henry gimmick, and then you watch the behind the scenes of Hardcore Henry. It's like, oh, it was a huge ball ache. That's why.
Fair. Yeah.
The actor had to train to wear like this specially made camera mount that weighed like 30 pounds on his fucking head as he's doing parkour. I get it.
Yeah, fair. And like, obviously we've mentioned it before, but we are also we've mentioned James Gunn and hyperviolent superhero films. Super exists. We might talk about it soon.
Shut up, crime.
It's great. Just hits people with a wrench.
It's it's the scariest superhero. Like Batman. Batman's got nothing on Rainn Wilson in Super.
What the fuck do you want? Shut up, cry.
He brains you with a wrench. It's such a threatening weapon. And there's a couple of like movie weapons I single out as being like, I don't want to be hit by this, and it makes me uncomfortable that the person wields it. One is the wrench that Rainn Wilson brains people with. The other, and I always single this out, is in Shaun of the Dead, right at the end where Ed and Shaun and the other dude are having the standoff. And Ed just picks up a corkscrew and puts it to the guy's throat.
That's fucking brutal, man.
It's so... I'm like, I don't like that.
Isn't exactly fair.
Yeah. It's okay.
That's going to be messy and painful.
It's like watching Daniel Radcliffe pick up that hot dog.
Oh, God, that was messy and painful. You're right.
Can you imagine watching that first week into COVID where like you got all this stuff like wash your hands, don't. You see Daniel Radcliffe just like scooping up a Johnny adjacent hot dog into his mouth.
Using guns as a fucking spoon.
As well, like how it's gonna be so difficult for you to get any clips in because 90% of it is Daniel Radcliffe pointing a gun at his own head.
Yeah, everything is Daniel Radcliffe either not shooting his penis off, not shooting himself in the head, or killing people. It's like, yeah, this might be one that's difficult to get clips, as you say, but yeah, a fun journey nonetheless, and thank you all for sticking with us on this journey. I think I'd recommend it as like just do you want to watch a fun, silly movie? Yeah. Sure.
Go watch Guns Akimbo.
It's
better than Kick-Ass 2.
It is better than Kick-Ass 2. But Kick-Ass 2 does have more characters. I'll say that much. It has more people in it.
It also has one of the greatest holy shit, it's that person moments. And it's the bit where Hit Girl goes into school with like the stick that makes people vomit.
Oh, and, yeah.
That group of bad girls, one of them is Ella Purnell. She's just one of the mean girls. She doesn't say a single line.
It's just vomits and shits everywhere. That's her role.
What a start to your career, eh?
What a goddamn start. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a lovely day.
See you all next time. What a story, Karl or Lucas. That sure was a great video.
I wasn't sure what you were doing for a second.
So welcome to our shout-outs to our big PPs over on Patreon. And PP stands for Patreon Producer. We call them PPs because it's funny to say.
Carl, they're the big P.
They are the big PPs, yes. And if you would like to become a big PP, you can follow the links found below to become a member of our Patreon and hear your name be shouted out like we're about to do now. And the first name to shout out, Lucas, is someone who's taken a gauntlet I threw down on the ground many, many months ago and decided to put a piece of poo in it and then slap me across the face with it by creating ever more elaborate and difficult tongue twisters. So the first person I need to shout out is through rough, cough, sloughing snuffles, brought tough, thought fraught throngs through slough, slight altins suppose the stress. And it appears that their name got cut off by the character limit over on Patreon, so do be aware of that. But I think I nailed that tongue twister. I also like as well like referencing slough in a tongue twister. It's slough.
Or imagine being able to be magically whisked away to Delaware. Hi, I'm in Delaware.
And I'm going through some rough coughs at the moment, so it's quite fitting. So if I sound a little bit off, I'm just ill still, and I still want to be here to just shout out everyone and give thanks for support. So,
yes, literally fighting through illness. And before we did this, Lucas just looked at me like, Karl, I don't think I'm going to make it.
But the next person we have to thank for their lovely support is Daddy Grunt. And Karl, obviously, we could acknowledge Daddy part of Daddy Grunt, but I'm just going to say, in terms of grunting, in terms of, acting, what's your favourite kind of, effort in a video game or whatever?
There's a couple for me. I do like the efforts for Isaac Clarke in the Dead Space game, because all of his, grunts of just to the point where he literally starts shouting, fuck you, if you swing around his gun enough.
I was going to make a joke of, I like the noises that the grunts make in Halo, and they're just and screaming.
What's your favourite grunt scream, and why is it not again when they get hit by a plasma grenade? And the next person to shout out is somebody who has taken that poo-poo covered gauntlet I mentioned earlier, picked it back up off the floor and slapped me across the other cheek by coming up with a name that is a series of words in a language I do not speak. So let's give that a go, shall we? So, next person to shout out is Tinakui Hochata Oxilane Tomi Sema Sikapatia Ta Nitla Maktia Ipan Kalta Maktilioyan. And if I've mispronounced that, I'm very, very sorry. If you can't tell, I'm very bad at pronouncing words I'm not familiar with. So I deeply apologise for my bad pronunciation, but I do get the feeling that the person who picked that as their name on Patreon kind of wanted to see me fail a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Just the thing is, just a little bit. Yeah. Not too much where we're going to get cancelled for have you heard how bad that pronunciation is, but enough where they can be like, look at this fucking dude to struggle.
Playa, Yakur.
Of the volcano, Aya Fiatla Yurga. Here.
Eja Fiatla
Joku. I mean, speaking of struggling, Karl, I don't even have words for the next shout out, so
that's what I mean. People have these gauntlets. I feel like there's multiple gauntlets now with multiple kinds of poo in them that people are throwing at us left and right. So the next person has not even submitted a name; they've submitted a story told via emojis. So Lucas, what is this story?
I don't necessarily know what the story is. I can't quite grasp it, but it does appear to be a series of faces made out of punctuation. So I'm gonna do my best to describe what I see.
So Lucas, I now get to say one of my favourite lines from one of my favourite bad game shows. Say what you see.
£290. What do you think it is?
Tip the waiter.
I see burning dragon, uwu face, happy face, glasses face, maybe butt cheeks, little jazz hands face, and then an angry face throwing a table at a very scared looking face. Yeah, did I just absolutely fail at getting the prize in catchphrase?
No one will ever fail harder than just a snake charmer. We mention it all the time. I'm putting the clip in again.
Means concentrate. Here we go.
Sean! Snake charmer.
And the next person to shout out is Rosalindus Memphis. And we need to shout out Rosalindus Memphis, one, for their long-time support, because I recognise this name. It's been in like multiple of these big PP shout-outs, and also for just having a nice, short, easy-to-pronounce name that doesn't embarrass myself or Lucas.
True.
And I mentioned in the last like big PP shout-out, I do try to put in like a fun clip for each person's name when we shout them out, and the one I keep trying to put in for Linda's Memphis is a song with the word Memphis in it.
I find it funny, Karl, because I said months and months ago now that you're going to regret throwing this challenge down so hard, and now here we are. But somebody else that has kept it simple is Kicking Bucket, who also has decided to, I think it was last month, they added in also having a table flip emote in there. So we've got multiple little angry table flip emotes in there.
And Kicking Bucket is a euphemism for, like, just eating shit. So, Lucas, like, what's the most you've eaten shit recently in a video game?
I mean, I've been playing Hollow Knight Silk Song, Karl. So
say no more.
Like, all I can see in my head is just, like, Horner just like, Shah!
Well, for me, it's Borderlands, because I bought Borderlands 4, and I shit you not, it won't boot up.
Oh my god.
It crashes on boot if you're connected to the internet.
It just dies, it kills itself.
Literally, like, as soon as you start the game, it crashes on boot. So I think the entire game refusing to play, that's like the entire game just died. It's great. Amazing. Fuck you, fix that shit, Randy. Premium games, premium players, they won't even boot up without being connected to the internet. Fucking legendary. The next person to shout out is Lucille DeSteele. And Lucas, I've kind of been, taking the reins on this one, because Lucille DeSteele is another long-time supporter, and I keep putting in clips of real steel. So instead of me putting in a clip from one of my favourite, like, comfort movies, guilty pleasure movies, whatever you want to call it, what's a guilty pleasure / comfort movie for you I can put a clip in from?
Hopefully you can get away with putting a clip in, but my answer is going to be Lilo and Stitch, and not because it's necessarily a guilty pleasure film, but more I take a lot of guilty pleasure in the amount of just Stitch merchandise I constantly buy.
Yeah, and I'd say you get to pick which clip I'm going to put in, but it's of course where Lilo just absolutely goes like to town on that little girl and starts delivering like the hammer fists.
You're crazy.
Like, why do they not teach like the little girl playing Lilo in the live action reboot MMA shit so she could just like deliver the beatdown of all beatdowns?
So this is where you get her in the arm lock. Oh god. And the next person we have to thank, Karl, is Bee of Awesome, who has provided the answer to the riddle that they provided last month, which I'm a big fan of. The idea of giving us a month worth of setup and then a month worth of payoff.
And Lucas, would you like to remind people of the riddle they posed to us last month? Because that's another fun thing people are doing with the big PP shoutouts of posing questions and riddles to us that we have to answer. It's like, answer me my riddles 3.
So Bee of Awesome, the answer to last week's riddle, what lies on the ground 100 feet in the air? It is an upside down centipede. And
I should have seen that one come in.
Yeah, I read that and was like, how does that make any sense? Why would there be any...
We admitted to not cheating. We could have cheated for that riddle and made it look really smart, but we figured we could cheat for the riddle and look smart, but then people are going to see us try and pronounce these foreign words and just then know we're not that smart. But the next person to shout out is ghost emoji, little ghost emoji, and it is spooky month. Lucas, do you have a favourite ghost or character who is now a ghost? That's not going to be too much of a spoiler.
Well, I'm going to go with Pokemon, as I do love Pokemon, and I'm going to say Mimikyu, because
that's fair.
It's quite fitting for October. I'd say it's in like permanent outfit of like Pikachu cosplay, because if it's not
wearing a Halloween costume, right?
It's literally wearing a Halloween costume, but if the Halloween costume falls off, everybody dies.
I know it can't be, but could it be? Pikachu's head!
And then next person we have to thank, Karl, is Split Scream, another person that has just, gracefully not punished us, so I have to thank them for that.
And their name is Split Scream, and we are in Spooky Month, as mentioned. So, Lucas, is there a favourite example you have of what I like to refer to as scream acting, which is where actors just scream real loud and it's very convincing, or, at the very least, entertaining?
Well, my favourite moment of scream acting is in the movie Scream, where they...
I knew it. I knew it. When Matthew Lillard just gnaws on the scenery. Yeah,
yeah, of course. Like, the faking death moment, just, the reveal. It's like, yeah.
That's right. You gave it up. Now you're no longer a virgin. That virgin. Now you gotta die. Those are the rules.
My favourite example of like proper scream acting is Shalto Copley in District 9. where he's just screaming in like with his really broad South African accent, like "Fuck you, you fucking prawns." He's so good. He spends half that movie just fucking screaming, and then the other half annihilating people with pigs launched at Mach 3.
Not the Mach 3 pigs.
No one wants the Mach 3 pig. Except for Shalto Copley, because he's like, fucking prawns! And last but not least, we have to shout out Ranma Satami. And it's really fun as well, because like when I booted up my computer this morning to start work, I saw we had like a Patreon subscribe, and it was Ranma Satami. I'm like, that's perfect. Me and Lucas are doing the shout outs later today. They picked us at the post and got it at the last possible second to get their name in the credits.
There's my name right there.
Ranma Satami.
Looks more like Brad Storch.
No, it says Betty. Betty Symington. Thanks for taking credit for other people's work.
We appreciate the support of our big PPs. Our PPs are just everyone who watches these videos, especially if you're watching it to the end and seeing us talk now. Thank you for watching. We'll see you all next time.